In this lecture, we're going to begin with the following reactant, and our goal will be to find all different types of products that can form when this reactant undergoes the elimination or E1 reaction. So in this reaction, we have water and alcohol as our solvent. So let's begin with the first step. In the first step, we have ionization taking place. In other words, our leaving group detaches from our molecule. So we have the lone pair of electrons in this bond detaching and going onto our bromine, onto our leaving group. So we form the following two intermediates. So recall that methyl and primary carbocations will not form because they're relatively unstable. But tertiary and secondary carbocations will form, and they will be stabilized by our polar water and alcohol solvent. So this means because we have a secondary carbocation, this reaction will indeed take place. So here we have our carbocation and our base. Now, which one of these bases is the better base? Is it bromine, water, or alcohol? Well, bromine is a better base, and that means that bromine will be more likely to take off the H's than our alcohol or water. So let's begin by examining all different types of H's that we can take off to form our alkene. Remember, in the E1, our end product is an alkene. So we can either take off this HB or this HA. If we take off this HA, we have to follow step 2. In step 2, our bromine, lone pair of electrons, grabs this H, and this lone pair of electrons creates a double bond with this empty 2p orbital. So we form the following single product. This is the less substituted product. Now, what if we follow pathway 1? What if the lone pair of electrons instead grabs this molecule, this HB ion? Well, then we form a mixture of isomers. Because remember, this can rotate, and when this rotates, we can either form our Z or E isomer. So we have the following more substituted product. So if we compare step 2 and step 1, this will be more likely to take place to form because these guys are the Zaitsev products. They're more stable, more thermodynamically stable products. So is this the only thing that can take place in our reaction? And the answer is no. There's also something known as the hydride shift. The hydride shift is simply the movement of an H ion with 2 electrons in the 1s shell. So that means we have a negative charge on this atom. And why does a hydride shift take place? Well, usually it leads to a more substituted carbocation. Remember, when we go from methyl to primary to secondary to tertiary carbocations, our stability increases. So that means if we can somehow form a more stable carbocation from this carbocation, that will be good. It will be a stabilizing effect. So let's redraw this carbocation with this HB atom. If this HB atom shifts to this position, if the hydride shifts, lone pair of electrons moves on to this carbocation, we form not a secondary carbocation, but a tertiary carbocation. We have 1, 2, 3 sigma bonds on this tertiary carbocation. So this will be much more stable than this, and so this is very likely to take place. So this is known as the hydride shift. It's the movement of an HB atom along with this pair of electrons. So now we have the same exact situation in the sense that we have to determine which H atom can be taken off. Is it HB, HC, or HD? Well, if HB is taken off, we form the same exact mixture as pathway 1. We form either the Z or the E isomer. So this can rotate back and forth, and when our lone pair of electrons grabs this HB, as it rotates, this pair could form a double bond forming the following 2 products. Now we have 2 different steps that we can take. If we take pathway 3, if our lone pair of electrons on the bromine takes away this HC, the following less substituted product is formed. On the other hand, we can also take off this HD atom. If HD is taken off, once again we form a mixture of ZE isomers. So the Z isomer is the isomer where the two larger groups are on the same side. The E isomer is the isomer where the two smaller groups or the two large groups on opposite sides. So these guys compared to this guy will be the major product. Why? Well, because they're the more substituted Zaitsev products.